Welcome to another edition of Creator News Live. What a week! And Conor Brown is here with us again today. The amazing, unsinkable Conor Brown. Conor, how's it going in Florida, the Orlando area? Is it hot? It's hot in stinking Texas, so I have a feeling it's hot.
You know what? It's not too bad. I'd say we're getting into the 80s today, which is wild, especially considering my family back home in Maryland. It snowed just a couple days ago in March. So, I mean, can't beat the warm weather.
Yeah, no, thank you. So other than that, like, you've been hanging out at the parks, like, what's been going on in the world of Conor Brown?
Oh, there's been so much going on. I mean, there's always stuff to do here in Orlando. A lot of travel. Recently went on the new Disney cruise ship, the Destiny, which Jeff C. also went on. Had a great time.
So much fun.
Went on the Disney Wish just before that, a couple weeks before that. And we have some fun stuff coming up. I'll be headed out to Disneyland in 2 weeks. I was part of a media event to meet Bluey, the lovable Australian herding dog that is the #1 most streamed show on all streaming platforms, the international sensation. So I'm going out there. Disney invited me out there to do that. And then next week, Universal invited me out to take a look at everything they got going on. Mardi Gras stuff, which is really cool.
Okay.
I don't know if you know this, Jeff, but they have, during Mardi Gras season, every single night, an actual Mardi Gras parade where you, the guest, can get on the float, toss beads. They look like legit Mardi Gras floats. It's really, really, really cool.
That sounds like a great lawsuit to me right there, getting guests up on a float, I tell you.
And you sign a lot of waivers to get up on there, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm sure you do. We've got our amazing friend, Paul Gowder from Gowder's on the Go saying, good morning, gentlemen. Good morning, Mr. Gowder. Thank you for tuning in today. We've got the amazing Rich Watt saying, happy Friday, sharers of wisdom. Well, we'll see about that. You may change your tune there, Rich, after this show. But it's going to be fun because it's Conor and me, and we're talking. We've done this before in the past, but we're kind of diving into it again, like books we've read, like the good books. So we're going to talk about that a little bit on the show today. But, Conor mentioned going to Disneyland. I'm heading there in the end of April for Social Media Marketable. So you're going to have to, like, really get me some good insider info, where to eat, all that stuff, because that's going to be super important.
And we got you already set up with a fun hotel right across the street from Disneyland.
Right.
Your tickets are all squared away. Your dining reservations. It's going to be good.
That's the all the goodness that you get when you book with Vacation Kingdoms, Conor Brown's travel agency company. So make sure you guys, if you have a vacation coming up, I mean, it might be a little late for spring break because that's like this today. But, you can always have a vacation later on in the summer. So make sure you check out Vacation Kingdoms and the amazing Conor Brown. We have, before we hit go on the podcast machine, we got my friend Rich Graham saying, I was wondering if Jeff was one that stuck on the hot air balloon this week. I guess it made national news because in Longview, these hot air balloonists, because we have a national race here in Longview. It's the Great Texas Balloon Races here every year. I don't know if they were practicing or what, but they got stuck on this cell tower, and they had to do this high angle rescue kind of thing. The fire department and everything. They got them down safely, but it was great footage because they had drones up to see, to get around the wires and stuff. So it was some great footage of the rescue. But yeah, it was pretty harrowing. Like, if they went the other way, I guess they could have been irradiated by the radiation coming out. So I mean, it was like they were hanging, dangling from a torn, yeah, it was bad. But everything came out soon. But it was excitement here in Longview, Texas.
It's been 10 years now, but you remember Balloon Boy?
Yeah.
Remember that whole thing?
Yeah.
I think Netflix is coming out with a documentary or something about that. One of the craziest hoax of all time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay away from those balloons, kids.
That's right. So I am going to go ahead and hit go on the podcast. I can't talk today. Go on the podcasting machine, and we will get started. So let me go ahead and do that. And here we go. Hello, folks. Welcome to Creator News Live. I'm Jeff C., and you're not.
And I'm Conor Brown, and this is the show that keeps you up to date on what's happening in the world of the creator economy and so much more.
Have you ever found yourself wondering which books truly shape the way creators think and build their business? Maybe you're curious about stories and ideas that leave a lasting impact long after the final page. Or maybe you're looking for a few great reads that might influence how you approach creativity, work, or life. If those questions sound familiar, then you are in the right place.
Today's episode is a little different because it's just Jeff C. and me sharing the 10 books that have meant the most to us. 5 fiction, 5 nonfiction. These are the books that changed how we see the world, challenged our thinking, and stayed with us over time.
So sit back, clear your schedule, clear your mind to get ready for this week's episode of Creator News Live. And something's supposed to happen here, and it's not.
Play it.
I just don't know what's happening.
It's Conor and Jeff on the mic, bringing books to life that you just might like. Big ideas in a chapter or two. It's the book report, just for you.
That's right, folks. We're doing books that you must read. We've already got some great people putting comments in of their favorite books, so we'll make sure to get to those later. But Conor, we're going to start with you because we have 5 fiction, 5 nonfiction for both of us. And it's funny because there weren't a lot of crossover. I mean, a couple of I'd read, so we'll talk about that. But I'm going to let you start it off because, you are the special guest today.
All right, what do we got first? Going with fiction, right?
Yeah, here we go. This one right
Lonesome Dove. Lonesome Dove. I mean, I think that so many people talk about this book being their favorite book. So there was so much hype for me going into it when I read it a couple years ago. And it is a daunting book. It's a lot of pages. It's thick. You gotta commit some serious time to it. And I'll be honest, the first few pages, I'm like, I'm not seeing it. Next thing you know, you're 100 pages in and you can't put it down. I think, Jeff, Lonesome Dove is this great book about this idea of the Wild West, right? Mm-hmm. But it's really, of course, about the characters in it and the stories behind them and all of their pasts and experiences that lead them to this point. At certain chapters in the book, it's heartbreaking. I remember a couple times reading it. I was so engrossed in it and connected with these characters. Something happens to one of the characters, I have to put the book down and just be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that occurred. I will say, I think one of my very good friends, he just read this as well after me having some time to convince him. And he loved it as well. And we found the miniseries, the old miniseries, which has
that's what I was going to ask about.
Jones, and Robert Duvall, Danny Glover, amongst others. I think Diane Lane, maybe. You can watch it on Pluto TV, which is free. So I think I might have to do that this weekend just because it's on the top of my mind. It's great. I think the one thing that I've stayed away from is this is technically the middle book in a trilogy. So there's a prequel and a sequel. I haven't read either of them, and I don't think I will because I don't want to spoil anything, like take away from just how perfect this book is standing alone by itself. Have you ever read this one, Jeff?
You know what? I haven't. It's on my list. When you brought it up, I was like, because I think I had to watch the miniseries in school, or I watched it with my parent. I can't remember the exact because it's been a while. Like did it come out in the 80s? Is that when the miniseries was?
That's when the miniseries did. Yeah.
So I really want to read it because it's a classic miniseries. Everybody talks about that, but I really want to dive into the book. So. That is a good gift. A good get right there. So, do you want to go? Do you want me to? You want to go back and forth? Or you want to go all at once? How do you want to play this game with the books?
Let's go back and forth.
So mine would be. Let me find it. Is this is the one that probably one of the books other than like the Bible is changed my thinking the most would be like the Chronicles of Narnia. I am a big C.S. Lewis fan. I love all his. I even love like his nonfiction stuff. And Chronicles of Narnia, just a classic fantasy story. I read all of them. I could tell you what the book covers looked like. I used to just stare at them like when I was in bed when I was a kid because I would read like before bed. And I just love them. And even the movies weren't horrible. I had a big problem with the voice of Aslan because I know it's Liam Neeson, but I really wanted James Earl Jones. Like it just. Because of Mufasa and all that kind of, it was the wrong voice of the lion, right? Like, so anyway, that was the only thing. But I thought they did a pretty good time with that. What did you think? Have you read I'm sure you have, Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe.
Long time ago. I'm kind of the same mindset as you. Great. There's just so many different allegories within it, right? And it's a magic kind of area that's not too complicated, and it's great. They are classics for a reason. I love other C.S. Lewis ones, like you're talking about, Jeff. I love the Screw Tape Letters, The Great Divorce, Mere Christianity. Did
you ever read the Martian Chronicles? Did you ever read his sci-fi thing?
I think so. No,
it's pretty good. It's a pretty good one too.
He's very talented. And I know you mentioned the movies. I think next year there's a big blockbuster coming out. Greta Gerwig, who did the Barbie movie, Little Women.
That's right. She's
Lady
doing
Bird.
It, yeah.
She's doing a take on Narnia of her own. I don't know how many books it's going to encompass, but I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
So one of my favorite ones out of the series, because I can't remember exactly one, but the Voyage of the Dawn Treader is one of my favorite ones, and I think that's where they stopped with the movies. Is they didn't finish the rest of it, and I really like that one. I love that story. There's just so much good things in there. So, and I think that book started my enjoyment of fantasy and some of the other ones. So it kind of crafted that love when I was a kid, and I still like to read that every once in a while. So that was my first one when we come to nonfiction. So to fiction. So this is your next one. So I'm going to pull this one up right here.
Little Life. So
talk about this. I had never heard of this one before.
Before I get to this, I'll encourage everyone. I know Kira's already commenting and Paul. Drop your favorite fiction books in here too, because when we're done with this, Jeff and I will go back and forth and see if we've read them as well. Yeah. So drop your favorite fiction books in here and let us know why you like them so much. A Little Life. This was another one that I had heard so much about, but everyone always cautioned you when you read it. They said, it's so good, but it will destroy you. And sure enough, it did destroy me. This is not a happy book. This is not fun. Oh, it's so great book. No, while there are times of joy and triumph and feel goodness within this book, it is not a necessarily happy ending or happy endings throughout it as well, but it goes over the course of decades, and it follows a main character who, for lack of a better word, has really just had life kick the crap out of him, right? And he's got a lot of bad things that happen to him, but he's surrounded by good people as he's growing. And I think for me, what I love about these books, and this is another one that's a lot of pages, right? 600 pages, something like that. You can develop the story so much more. You can follow the character so much more. And I think these books, Jeff, what I really love about them is it's a different view. It's a different way of life than I've ever experienced. And I think the best thing about fiction books is, it might be a made up story, but there's still some realness rooted in it, whether it's A Little Life, whether it's Cowboys on Lonesome Dove, and you become a little bit more empathetic for that way of life. So that's why I like these kinds of books.
So on this kind of book, because you said it's not like a happy, fun story in this book, is this the kind of book that you recommend to everybody, or do you have like certain people you recommend? It's like hey, everybody should read this, or it's like you need to be really in a good frame of mind, or you need to be like, this is a winner book where you curl up and you process, what you just read, kind of a thing.
I think it might be the latter. I don't think this is great for everyone at every stage of their life or whatever you're dealing with, but I do think that no matter where you are, you can get some good takes and ideas from it. So not everyone needs to read it right now, but it is worth it in the end.
Yeah, and so this next one it was recommended by the amazing Paul Gowder. He said this one as well, Project Hail Mary. I think I read this. So I read The Martian, liked it. It was really good. Saw the movie, really great movie. And I just kind of let it go. And then Paul kept talking about this book, and I'm like, okay, I got to try it out and see it and read it. And it is one of the best sci-fi books I've read in a long time. I would put it up there with like Ender's Game, because that's a really like classic one that a lot of people like. It was really, really good. And I can't wait for the movie. I think the movie, is it this weekend or next? It comes out.
It's pretty close. Yeah.
It's coming out, and I've heard really good things. Like Del Toro said it was like a masterpiece, and I'm like, that really gets me, pumped for this, because the book is fabulous. I don't know if you guys have read it in the comments other than Paul, but if you haven't read it, it is really good. And the cool thing about Andrew Weir is it's very different from The Martian. Project Hail Mary is very different from even his other one, Artemis, I think is his other one that I've read as well. Totally different characters, different style of writing almost, but this is my favorite. Like, this is my top favorite sci-fi book I've read in a long, long time. So, have you read it yet, Connor?
So I don't know about you, Jeff. I want to get your take on this. When you listen to an audiobook, do you tell people you've read it?
I don't listen to audiobooks unless I'm driving, and most of the time I do podcasts. I can't, when I'm reading, I can't I either take notes or like I'm engrossed in the book and I can't listen.
So I've only listened to a couple of audiobooks for that same reasoning.
Mm-hmm.
I find myself, even with podcasts, like hitting the rewind button constantly, right? To be like, oh, what was that? What was that? When I read books, I want to be fully engrossed in it and kind of processing it like that. That being said, Project Hail Mary was an audiobook I listened to. It's really great. The narrator is awesome. But one thing that isn't necessarily taking this away or giving any spoilers, Jeff, Rocky and his musical notes in the audiobook is actual music.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
Instead of just
that is really cool. Yeah.
That's what makes it pretty special. And I know that there's a big trend going on nowadays where people are reading the book and listening to the audiobook at the same time. So they have like headphones on, and it's called like active reading, and they're reading it as it's in their
that's cool
audiobook and stuff. So that might be one to do it for.
So, because I like the theater of the mind idea. I mean, because like I went and listened to the BBC radio play of the Star Wars where they had the actual actors, and it's really, really good. Like it's a really good audiobook. There's some we used to do with the kids. We had the audiobooks of Chronicles of Narnia they would listen to before they went to bed, and they love that. So very, very cool. Paul did say, don't watch the trailer if you haven't read the book. So I haven't watched the trailer. I don't think I have. Maybe I saw a teaser. But yeah, so a little warning from Paul there. But yeah, I try to stay off social media, like when a movie is that I really want to see is coming out. And so I've kind of stayed away because I don't want to. I already know the story, but I don't. I want to see if it matches my mind, kind of a thing. So I know it's weird, but that's what I do. So
I get it. I get that.
So that was is it
that was you?
That was me. So it's your turn. So let me pull that next one up. This one is, I'm really interested to hear you talk about it because the cover is very interesting. Yeah.
Dungeon Crawler Carl. I will say about the last maybe 3 years, this book and this series has taken off and it's become hugely popular. I think there's going to be 8 books, I think, in this series. I think he's already written maybe 5 or 6, something like that. So the premise is simple. Dungeon Carl right there, he's lying in bed and the earth is ending. And the earth is ending because it's being taken over by this alien species who they go from planet to planet every 20, 50 years, something like that. They take over the planet, they end it, and they end it with a TV game show, kind of survivalist thing.
So Running Man kind of thing. Got it.
Exactly. A narrator comes up and says, we're taking over your planet. You have 15 minutes to get to one of these open doors if you want to participate in the game. If you don't want to participate in the game, it's the apocalypse. Good luck. So Carl runs in, grabs his now ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Cupcake right there, and they go into this, and it's all about that. It's about part of the game show, about how totally rigged it is for these contestants. It's about Carl finding himself, of course, and it's set up like a video game of sorts. So he levels up, he gets to certain levels by defeating like neighborhood bosses and stuff. It's hilarious. You will read it really, really quick. The only caution I would give you is you're going to like it so much, you're going to have to read the second and the third and so on and so forth. I'm about to start the third, but I can already tell it's going to be one of my favorite series of all time.
See, and I put this on the list after I saw it because I read the synopsis of it. And I was like, this sounds fun. It sounds very almost Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like kind of.
I would say that meets Ready Player One. If you like Ready Player One, which I loved Ready Player One, it's a lot like those two combined.
On Ready Player, did you read the sequel to Ready Player One?
I haven't yet. Ready Player Two, right?
Yeah.
People said it's actually pretty solid. Yeah.
It's not as good as the first one, in my opinion. Yeah. But anyway, it was. So this is one I put on there. So Dungeon Crawler, Carl. If you guys read it, I want to know if anybody other than Connor has read this book, because this was a kind of a deep cut, I thought, for Connor. It's like, oh, wow, this is kind of okay. Maybe I haven't heard it. Yeah. So that's Connor's was Dungeon Crawler, Carl. Mine is, let me go ahead and turn this off. We go to, and I don't know, this is an old one, and it was a bad movie was based off of it, but it was Preston and Child. These two are some of my favorite authors. Like, they have a ton of books out. They're almost like Clive Cussler and some of that. I mean, but I think they worked for the Museum for Natural History, because this is the first book in what's called the Pendergast series. He's this eccentric FBI agent who's from New Orleans, and there's this weird history around the backstory of him, and they kind of almost get to supernaturally kind of stuff, but it has science. It's kind of Michael Crichton-ish a little bit too, but I think they have 16 books in this series, and they have other ones that they have read, but I really like these two authors. They write together, which is kind of interesting how they do it, but really, really good books. Really, really like it. I'm on, I think, 18 of the Pendergast series now, and I'm like, I sign up as soon as I see a new one's coming. I'm like, okay, pre-order. I'll get it to my Kindle as soon as it drops. But I really, really like these. They're just very entertaining and fun. I'm really surprised, other than the bad movie, The Relic, it was actually, they made this first one. I don't know if they should make some other ones. I mean, it's just a good story. It's a really, really good story.
I feel like sometimes whenever that happens and the first one doesn't do well, they don't try again.
Yeah.
You mentioned one, Clive Cussler, Sahara.
That was a great movie. I thought it was good.
And it doesn't take off. It doesn't get whatever it needs, so they don't try any of his other books. On the flip side of that, you have another author you mentioned that's probably my favorite, like, mass media author, in Michael Crichton. Everything he does gets adapted into an awesome series or movie or something like that. So that's high praise for all of that. When you started saying that, it reminded me of, I love a whodunit. I love a detective story. Have you ever read anything by Robert Galbraith?
Give me a title. That sounds familiar, the name.
Robert Galbraith writes the Cormoran Strike series. You might know Robert Galbraith as their actual name, J.K. Rowling. So she said, I wonder if I could do this. And he's like a former military person in Britain, becomes a private investigator and starts, solving these cases and stuff. And it's very well done. So it reminds me a little bit of that.
Yeah. All right. So we'll get to some of these comments here in a minute. But Paul said he listened to in the audiobook of not Ready Player One, but Project Hail Mary, he really liked it. The Zach Brown, amazing Zach Brown says, Man in the High Castle for fiction, Jim Henson's biography, nonfiction. Ooh, I have that on my list. I have not read it yet. I watched the documentary on Disney Plus. That was really, really good. But
I've read the Jim Henson biography. It's fantastic. And I believe the person that wrote that biography also has one on George Lucas, which I heard is very good.
I just got the hardback of the Imagineering story 50, not Imagineering, not Imagineering, whose does the Light and Magic, Industrial Light and Magic, their 50-year book. I'm really excited to dive into that one. So Paul said they also did this with the Harry Potter book, the audio, full cast and sound for the effects. And Zach loved Ready Player One. And so Jim Few says, one of my all-time favorites is the Lord of the Rings trilogy and The Hobbit. Yeah, I would say one of my favorites as well. The cool thing about C.S. Lewis, he had a thing called the Inklings, that he would go down at the bar and hang out with Tolkien, and they would talk about their stories. Like, talk about community. I just think that is such a cool... I would love to have been a fly on the wall hearing them discuss that in their Inklings kind of group. That is so cool. So, real quick, Kira says, I must say Martin Short's autobiography is amazing. Have not read that
Also,
one yet. Steve Martin's is one of my
very good.
really good ones. I love that. Born Standing Up. Yeah,
Born
that's
Standing
really
Up.
good.
Very good.
All right, so Connor, your next fiction book. Let me pull that up because it was another one that I had not read. Talk about this.
Mistborn, another fantastic series. Brandon Sanderson, in the world of just getting one thing done, Brandon Sanderson is the most efficient author you will ever see in
Really?
your life. The man is he does a great job of also promoting himself and telling his fans what he's up to. So he'll post on social, he'll send out newsletters, and he has a progress chart of every single book he's working on right now, where it's at, how he's writing. He's a madman when it comes to producing content, and it's not just mass scale like, crap. It's really really good
Right.
stuff. Mistborn is his entry point, so he's kind of created this whole magical universe called the Cosmere, and he has a bunch of different um, entry points into that, a bunch of different series. I would say that Mistborn is the easiest to get into first. It's first a quick trilogy. It's an interesting fantasy story. So if you've never done fantasy, there are some nuances here. There's a magic system, they call it. So they push and pull with metals. And that creates for some really cool action sequences and understanding of it all. But of course, it's about, as most of these fantasy series are, an orphan who has really good powers. Somebody finds out they have really good powers, brings them onto the good team side, and they're trying to, fight the bad team, which is really really well done. Again, three books, but it's really good.
So if somebody who's not like really into fantasy, is this a good book to get, like maybe like, hey, I'm interested in fantasy, I've never really found one I like. Is this one that they should try out?
This is the first one that I actually tried out with, and
Okay.
now I've gone on from there to many fantasy books beyond that. This is a great entry point for that, and it's a great entry point because Brandon Sanderson has some more complicated series as well. So it's a great entry point for him, but also for fantasy overall. Huge deal just happened where he inked a deal with Apple TV where he's going to write and create a series for Apple TV on one of his book series, and then Mistborn is going to be movies on Apple TV Plus as
Ooh,
well. So that will be
That's going to
very
be cool. I mean, they did a good job with the Foundation series, I thought. I haven't finished
Yeah.
it yet, but the production on that is just out of this world. So it's really good. All right, so Mistborn. Okay, I'm gonna have so many books now to read. So this is the one, another huge series. I think he has like 16 or 17 books. Jim Butcher, he's a guy out of Missouri. He's written some fantasy, but this is his like core series that kind of made him famous. It's about Harry Dresden, who is a professional wizard, and he works as this private investigator in modern Chicago. And so it started out kind of doing local stuff, and now it's like this whole universe where there's like the White Council of Wizards that he's kind of run, against, and they're the ones who come and smite you if you go out of line. And it's just, and the first book, it's like he's got a talking skull that has a spirit of like wisdom in it that he banters back and forth. So there's like humor. It's like detective noir, and I'm like, most of the time I don't like first person where the like, hey, it was a dark and stormy night and the chick walked in, and like, I'm not into that first person. But this one, it's really good, and the battles are awesome. And like I said, it's like 17 books, and his universe keeps expanding, and it's just like, okay, now he's in trouble, and like you just can't wait for the next book to come out. So I really really like this because the way it mixes things up, and it's really really fun. It's another one that I'll wait and like, oh, he's got another book, okay, pre-order kind of a thing. So
It's always a good thing when you can say it's unlike any other book I've read.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's a bad thing, but more often than not, I like when it's different. And I think that that's also a great thing about fiction because it can introduce you to other creativity and other points of view, like I said before. So I think, like, I know a lot of people these days are like nonfiction, as many business books or biographies or whatever
Gotta
history
do both.
books that you can read. I love those. But I don't know about you, Jeff. I'd love we could talk a little bit more about I know you always read 2 books at a time, right? And I'm starting to be on that trajectory as well, because I think the creative aspects of fiction and like the actual matter of life things that you can learn from nonfiction are good and well paired together.
So I'd love to know the audience as well. When do you read? Like when? I mean, so, like some people they can't. It's so like audiobooks on the train or driving or whatever. But like when do you consume content like either audiobooks or sitting down and reading? My thing is like first thing in the morning before my day starts, I kind of do the meditation stuff and then read nonfiction. And then at night I have and it actually is on my iPad because I can take notes. And then at night I have a Kindle by my bed. And that's where I read fiction. So I have it like structured in a weird way, but that's just how it works for me. It helps me go to sleep at night. I don't have to, I'm not thinking of like businessy stuff. I want to, go to sleep. So that's what I kind of do. So like when is Conor Brown's like reading time?
I'll always read right before night, just like you. That will be my fiction as well. Again, I think it's just, and I know there's been a lot of studies done that's like the best way to get to sleep. And even if it's a high action, intense fiction, that's going on, it still shuts your brain down quietly, which I love. And then on the weekends, I'll read as much as a free time allows for whatever. I'll usually find myself reading a nonfiction or business book during the day. So something that my brain's a little bit more attuned. I can take notes. I can like digest it a little bit more when I need to. So that's when I find that I'm reading that type of book.
We'll talk about this next one because I have actually read it as well, and I want to know your thoughts about the series. So let's talk about Red Rising.
So my only complaint about books these days is that they all seem to be part of an 8-book series, and no one has time for that. That being said, on my favorite list, I have a bunch of books in an 8-book series, right? That's just the way that it is. Red Rising is that. Red Rising is probably the #1 fantasy series today. I think everyone is anxiously awaiting Pierce Brown to finalize the final book in this 8-book or 7-book trilogy or series that's going on. The way that this is structured is it's a trilogy to start, then a number of years pass, and then it's 4 books after that. So here's the premise. Again, kind of a poor person ascends to a historic level because of things that he's really, really good at and fights the bad guy. So that's what Red Rising is about. Red being the planet of Mars. And in this dystopia, I guess you could call it, everyone is based on a color. So there are reds, there are golds, there are bronzes, and they're all kind of fighting each other, and they all have their place in society. Red Rising is basically red, Mars, rising to be above what it's been labeled as so far. The first book is my favorite because the main character goes to almost like an academy. It's very like Hunger Games meets a little bit of Harry Potter. I'm reading another book right now, The Will of the Many, that's very similar to that. So it's this kind of going to magical school in a way. Some seriously intense action sequences here, but I think I don't know how far you've gotten in it, Jeff, but the trilogy, the first 3 books are fantastic. The next 4 are good. They're just very different.
I love the first 3. Like I read them all, consumed them really, really fast. And then the 4th one, it just kind of, I don't know if I fell out of it or whatever, but they are very, very different. And I have not finished the series because I got to the 3rd. I think I maybe read the 4th, maybe the 5th. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look, but the first 3, fabulous, like really, really good. Yeah. So I agree.
And I think that's it. They change up the narrators in books 4 through what's going to be 7. So it's definitely got a different feel to it. But it is popular and it is successful for a reason.
Yeah, we've got hey Rich Graham saying, I haven't read anything fiction forever. Probably need to get back on that. Yeah, you should, Rich. I mean, it really does. Conor kind of alluded to it. There's been a lot of studies about creativity and helping you by using some of that brain power kind of at night to kind of refresh those brain cells and help you be more creative. At least it is for me. So I get it. And he goes, he also loves David Sedaris. Audiobooks are his favorite. So yeah, a lot of people like those audiobooks. So very, very cool. Rich Graham. And because I'm in charge of all the buttons, I have actually 2 on the last 2. So I cheated, Connor, because you had 2 in the nonfiction. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it anyway. So you mentioned it's kind of the same vein as, it's a science fiction book, but it's really, really good. It's Midshipman's Hope. It's kind of a famous series. But what it is this young naval midshipman in space. So it takes a lot of the stuff that you know about, like warships, and then moves it into like sci-fi area. He's kind of thrust into leadership after a disaster strikes his starship. It's kind of almost kind of mirrors a little bit of like the Jack Ryan series, if you ever read those at Tom Clancy. But he struggles with self-doubt. There's a very strict moral code you've got to follow, kind of the maritime law that's in space, and like he's got to deal with this. But it talks about leadership, responsibility, survival. It's really good battles, but it's really it's intense, but it's really good. And it's a series, but start with book 1 of the Seafort Saga is what it's called. Really fun. You would like it. I can tell from, like, if you liked Red Rising, you'd like this a lot. So
I love books that like take one thing that you're familiar with, like this being like a Navy midshipman, and putting it somewhere that's unfamiliar, like space. I think that creates for a lot of cool and unique perspectives and stuff. One thing that I think is always funny in fantasy books is whenever they say like, instead of saying "oh my god," they'll say "oh my gods." And it's just this small little thing where you're like, oh yeah, because they're in a different world. They believe in multiple gods or whatever. So I like that when it transports you to somewhere, but it's still a little bit familiar.
Yeah, and they're really good. I can't remember who recommended to me, but those are the other ones I like consumed super fast once I discovered them. And this last one for me is classic. Terry Brooks is if you ever heard of the Sword of Shannara series, this is the guy who did it. But he's got a series about the Magic Kingdom of Landover, and I started these I think in early college, and he's kind of put them out, but they're really good. This first one is called Magic Kingdom for Sale Sold, and this guy, as weird as it sounds, he gets to buy. He's this lawyer. He's a disillusioned lawyer, kind of like Lou Mangello, but he buys kind of like Lou. He buys a fantasy world of like Disney, but he buys it, and he has this Landover, and it's got these quirky magical creatures. It's not real high fantasy, but it's kind of mixing 2 worlds, and Terry Brooks is a great author, so it's kind of lighthearted, but it's a really good series, so I really enjoyed it. So that's one that I've really gone back to and I've read a couple times, so it's just fun.
I'd love to know, Jeff, where do you find new books? Where do you add to your list, oh, I gotta read this?
So it's really, I have kind of different from fiction versus nonfiction. I used to go like into Walmart. Now everything's on Kindle, and I get that because we have so many books. But I would just go and look and see what caught my eye on the shelf back in the day. Now for fiction, it's usually recommended by others or authors that I like. When it comes to nonfiction, it's usually podcasts. There's a lot of like authors, like I'm editing Guy's show, and I hear him, they have a great episode, and I want to read more about them, or they mention somebody, I'm like, ooh, that sounds good, and then I'll go find it. So the rabbit trails of those kind of things, that's kind of how I find it. What about you? How do you discover new ones?
A huge one now is TikTok. I think they call it
Book Talk?
Book Talk, which is always recommending books, and a lot of good creators on there that you kind of gravitate towards because they talk about some other books that you've already read and you liked them and they like them. So you know that your tastes are kind of similar in that sense. That has really elongated my books to read list for sure. One thing I'll tell Rich Graham, who's watching, social media, type in books to get out of a rut or books to start reading again. I've seen a lot of videos lately of creators basically saying, hey, this is a quick, easy book to get into. You can read it really fast, and you just want to keep that reading cycle going. So there's a lot of great options. And I would say for me, Dungeon Crawler Carl is that one where you should start with, really easy to get into, and it can get you out of the rut.
It's really interesting. For me, it's easier to find nonfiction books that are really good than it is fiction books, at least anymore. I don't know if my tastes have changed or I'm more discerning in what I want to read, but I find it easier to find really good nonfiction books compared to fiction books. I don't know about you.
Are you a book quitter, Jeff, or will you still see it all the way through?
There's only a couple that I'll usually go finish them and just like there's one about Martin Luther, who is one of the it's founders of the and I don't know enough about him, and so I was trying to learn. But this book I got is a slog, and it's long, and I've given up and restarted that one multiple times. So yeah, I don't quit books. I'll read multiple ones in a row, but like I read all the Tracker series because we were watching the Tracker show on TV, and I'm like, ooh, this is interesting, and I read the books and I kind of binged those. So I kind of do that kind of thing for fiction. So
yeah.
All right, let's go to nonfiction. And if you haven't yet, put your favorite nonfiction down below wherever you're watching from. Rich Graham said David Sedaris, audiobooks are his. Kira said, I must say Martin Short's autobiography is amazing. And Sean says he's late, but he can't read anyway. That's not true. Sean, what are your favorite fiction and nonfiction books? We want to know, the world wants to know but mostly Disney. So first of all, Connor, what is your number one book that is nonfiction that you want to talk about?
So it's number one. It's The Obstacle is the Way. So
I know you're a big fan of Ryan Holiday. Yeah,
big fan of Ryan Holiday. Funny story. Trying to get my first job out of college. I get to the final interview, and the CEO, I don't know why I was interviewing with him. He asked, so what books have you read lately? And I hadn't read a book in years. But I remember that there was a book that we were supposed to read in college in my PR class. And I'm like, oh, it was this great book about PR. And he's like, and what's the name? And I froze. I'm like, I can't remember. So he's like, got it. So it's a good book, but you can't remember the name of it. And I was so embarrassed. And of course, didn't get that job. So I went back and I looked and I'm like, what is the name of that book? And it was Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Holiday, which was his first marketing book. And then I started to read that. And that's what kind of got me back into reading, to be honest, was that embarrassing situation. And I started to follow Ryan Holiday more, and he started to write about the ancient philosophy of Stoicism, which I think is very well documented by the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius in his book Meditations, which is not really a book, it's his journal, it's his diary, his daily diary. But the notion of Stoicism is super, super simple. You can only control the actions in which you can control. Everything else outside of you, you can't control that. So don't let it affect you as much as some people do. Kind of being in check with your emotions and acting rational and those sorts of things. The Obstacle is the Way is his first true book in the Stoicism realm. He's since written probably close to 10 more books.
Doesn't he have the Daily Stoic? Isn't that a podcast or a newsletter or something?
It's a podcast. It's a newsletter. It's social media. It's huge. And he gets some really great guests on the Daily Stoic as well. The notion behind The Obstacle is the Way is simple in the title. It's you have a way forward. There's an obstacle in front of you. That is the way. You have to conquer the obstacle to get there. You can't complain about the obstacle. You can't try to get rid of the obstacle. That's the way. And it really, really gets to the essence of Stoicism. And I think it's really the book that's changed my life the most. It's helped with a lot of anxiety, a lot of self-doubt and those sorts of things. And it's the book that I always go back to time and time again. Very,
very cool. Man, we're going to have to crank on these. So I'll try to go. Yeah. So this is one, actually, Michael Hyatt, way back when he was doing a, he had some sort of toolkit, and this was one of them in there. And so I'm a believer. And so one of the things that as entrepreneurs too is like, we talk about ROI a lot. And I'm like, if you believe that there's something beyond this life, like, the ROI for that is kind of important. So I needed to start it. So this is it's the Bible, and they have multiple translations, but it's you every day. And this is when I mentioned the meditations that I do at the beginning. I start with this because it gives you a Old Testament, New Testament, Psalms and Proverbs, and you're through the Bible in the year. And before I did this, I'd never read it all the way through. And so now I think I've read pretty much every translation. I think I started about 6 years ago, and I haven't, because I read that and then I write in a journal, and I think I have an unbroken streak of like 1,300 days. It's kind of like Jerry Seinfeld's thing, because I use an app called Day One, where I put my journal entry. And listen, I'm not writing like pages, folks. I'm like, it's a paragraph some days. Maybe it'll be a 2 sentences if I'm like in a hurry, but I'm doing it every day, and I have an unbroken streak for that long a time. So that's my first one. And I'm going to go ahead and go just right to the second one, then we'll get to yours. This is one I've talked about in my newsletter. Love Natalie Nixon. I think I heard her on a podcast. It's all about taking time to rest, because how it helps you with creativity. This is one of the best books that I've read. One of the things that last year is when I read it, but one of the quotes that I talked about in my newsletter is, what would change if you're in your work if you measured impact rather than just output, which I thought was amazing. If doing impact rather than the output, that's a great mindset. And then creativity is an engine for innovation. And so those are the 2 quotes that I wrote down and really reflect on. So that's a big one for me.
I got to add that to my list.
It's really good.
That sounds great.
It's really good. All right. This is the one I have not read either. So, I have read this one. So talk about this one, because it's a famous book and it's so good.
The War of Art, really, really quick book that you can read. It's great. He's got Stephen Pressfield, who's an accomplished author in his own right. He wrote Gates of Fire, about Sparta, the 300, right? He's really, really good. The notion behind this is, if you want to be an artist, if you want to be a creator, and you want to do that professionally, you have to treat it like a job. I think the quote that everyone always talks about is from this book. He says, "Oh, I only write when the muses strike me. Luckily, the muses strike me every single day at 8 a.m. Right? So you got to sit down, you got to do the work, you have to be consistent. It's really, really short chapters, and I would say each chapter is one lesson, so it's really quick to get through.
It's a very quick read.
Love it.
Yeah.
It will make you stop dead in your tracks a couple times and just be like, I just got to do the work.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great book. By the way, before I got so excited to talk to Conor about books, I forgot to mention our sponsor, Ecamm. If you want to have cool overlays, bring up books like we're doing during your show, make sure you guys go to check out Ecamm at ecamm.com/Jeff. You can save 15% by using code Jeff15 on checkout. And by the way, later on today at 1 p.m. Central, Katie and I are starting our new show. Yes, it is The Maker's Table, where she will be crocheting, I will be carving, and we will be talking together. So that's going to be, I'm going to probably broadcast it, because I think I screwed up the YouTube channel. I think I'm going to broadcast it on this channel as well as some other ones. But check your feeds, and we will try to tell you where it is. But it's supposed to be at the Maker's Table live, and we have that Facebook page, so we're going to do that. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to try to figure that out. But we're going to be the Maker's Table live everywhere. So that's coming up. Going to be exciting and fun, Conor. All right.
I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
That'll be cool.
So hopefully there will be no amputations from me today. Always the threat. Yeah. So, and Rich Graham saying, oh my gosh, War of Art is fantastic. Zach is reading Move, Think, Rest right now. But mostly Disney, who said he doesn't read, says, I just read 3 Days in Wonderland, which was awesome. That's on my list too. I have not read that one yet. All right, let's crank it on these last couple ones that we're talking about. Books for creators. Let me slide back up. So you did War of Art. My turn. I'm going to talk about The Wealthy and Well-Known. Now, it's really funny. Roy Vaden, I never read his book. He was always at Social Media Marketing World when I was there. I do not like the title of this. It sounds like everything that I don't like. But it's really based almost like on Story Brand, but to the next level. He's got a bunch of great exercises on, finding a personal brand, how to grow it. He writes it with his wife, who's super smart as well, but it shares strategies on how to speak, get content, become a thought leader. Really, really good book. I didn't like the title. I think it hurt more than helped, but I cannot recommend this book enough. Roy is a great guy. Tons of great stuff if you're trying to build your business and really focus on what you need to focus on. Great book.
It sounds, I fell into that trap too. It sounds like a self-help book more than anything.
Yeah, and it's not at all. It's really, it helps you create trust and authority. But his exercises that he has to help narrow you down, really, really good. Lots of good resources that you can download as well. So,
all right, Jeff, I'll go really quickly on my next one. My rule of thumb in life is if Cal Newport writes something, you read it.
That's
He's
right.
so smart.
Yeah.
He's a computer scientist, but he writes in a way that anyone can understand. This is my favorite of his books. It really just talks about how we have to be intentional about using digital tools in our life. If I ever feel like I'm spending too much time on my phone, I'll pick up this book again, read a couple quick chapters of it, and just reset my mind. Super important. And Cal Newport is so smart.
Any of his books, and also Jonathan Hates. I actually did an interview with him that guy did, who wrote The Anxious Generation. Those kind of go hand in hand. It's really scary, but we need to read it because there's some really interesting things that it's doing to our brains. So yeah, really, 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 really cool. And this is, I'm going to pull up Kevin's about this one. He goes, Belonging to the Brand. Very good book. Yes, from Doghouse Media. Mark Schaefer, we've had him on the show before. It's a solid modern day marketing on building community and beginning. Yeah, so wealthy and well known. This one, Belonging to the Brand, really great books. And then Jim keeps saying this, and I bought this, Jim, and I have not bought it. I have not read it yet. Snow Leopard: How Legendary Writers Create a Category of One. It's right there. I've already got it. It's in my Kindle. It's way up there high. I just need to read it. Thanks for the reminder, my friend. We will do that. So. You did digital minute. I can't even talk. Minimalism. I can't even say it. Anyway, you know what? It's by Cal Newport. Get that one. My next one would be, and it's a classic, I think, Creativity Inc. For working with creators, and you want to see the behind the scenes of Pixar. It's how Ed Catmull and Jobs worked together, started Pixar. How he does the meetings when anybody, the janitor can come in and suggest a story idea. Like, it's just really, really cool. So if you work with creators or you are creative and you're wanting to know some great business principles and also see behind the scenes of how Pixar started, this is an excellent book, Creativity Inc. Have you read it yet, Connor?
You know what? I haven't. And I feel like a bad fan for having never read it.
Yeah, I would say that you are. Okay, you have two in the same vein. And I almost didn't put these up just because of this, but I honored your wishes, and let's talk about this.
I'm a New England Patriots fan. I'm a better fan there than of Pixar, it seems like, because I've read both of these books. It's Better to Be Feared, and then the other book is The Dynasty. The interesting part here is they cover the same topic, the Patriots dynasty, with Belichick, with Kraft, the owner, and with Tom Brady. The dynasty is definitely one that was probably seen by the Patriots organization before it got put out. It's Better to Be Feared definitely wasn't seen before it got put out. So you get to kind of juxtapose what's the story, what isn't. I think the biggest thing about all this is they're the greatest franchise that's ever done this, right? But at what cost? At what cost? Your personal life, your relationships, all those things. A lot of lessons in there.
Very, very cool. I mean, I love, another thing that I read in the morning, Tony Dungy, who is the coach of the Colts, he has a devotional, and I read that along with that 1 Year Bible thing. And he's just, I love the behind the scenes stuff. Like, I'm like, I didn't know he did that. And, I just love that kind of stuff. And I know you have one after that we'll talk about that I'm really interested in. This is my next one. This is a guy by Jordan Rayner, and it's I guess you'd call it a faith-based book, but it's really not, because it's about God and work. And he does this called 5 Mere Christians, which is a play off of the Mere Christianity that C.S. Lewis wrote back in the day. But he actually breaks down 5 really great leaders, and they're Fred Rogers, which was Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. There was so much that dude had to go through just to get that on the show, it was just fascinating. Fannie Lou Hamer, which I did not know before, she was a civil rights activist and talked about pursuing justice without hating the unjust. Ole Christensen, he is the founder of Lego, and like his factory burned down like 4 times. Like, it was just hearing him persevere was really great. Hannah More was the other one. She was an audacious poet that helped abolish slavery in Britain. and then C.S. Lewis. And that was the main reason I got this book,
Yep.
because I wanted to read about it. But anything about him and talking about his life and like how he used it in work. So 5 Mere Christians, even if you're not faith-based or you don't like that kind of stuff, this is one to read because of these biographies. Like the one about Fred Rogers was so good. Like I just send it to people to like just read that chapter. It's so good. Yeah. So those are my favorite ones. And then the last one for me, because you did too, I'm going to do this one. Talk Like Ted. Last year I did a lot of work on trying to become a better speaker. I read a lot of books about it. This one and the one by Michael Port, which is Referable Speaker, probably my favorite. It actually helped me. I did some of the kind of worksheets and stuff when I was preparing my talk for Social Media Marketing World last year, and it landed me a gig, like from the stage. Like after I was done, somebody said, "Hey, when you come speak, we'll pay for you to come." Based off of the things that I learned in this book. So it's really, really good. If you want to become a better speaker, that book is and the Referable Speaker by Michael Port's really, really good. So, you had did I go through all yours? You have. Oh, this is your last one. I wanted you to talk about this because this was one I've never even heard of or seen before. I think I have a feeling why you picked it, but talk about A Course Called Ireland.
A Course Called Ireland by Tom Coyne. Tom Coyne is a golf writer, and this is his true story about how one summer he set out with just the golf clubs on his back and walked around the entirety of Ireland. The entire country he walked around, playing every single links-style golf course on the Emerald Isle. It's awesome. It seems insane, and it is. But he talks about each course, some more in depth than others. But like any story, it's about the people he meets along the way. It's about the importance of golf to him, about the things he shared with his dad. It's just a really, really good book, and it's about Ireland in general, but finding yourself, setting out, accomplishing something, all that stuff. This, of course, was very instrumental in the golf trip I took last September with my dad, where we went to Ireland and played. All of the courses we played are in that book. One course I had never heard of before until I read that book, and we added it to our itinerary, Dooks, Dooks, which was awesome. Tom Coyne has also now done a book called A Course Called Scotland, where he did kind of the same thing, and then A Course Called America, where he didn't walk around America, but over the course of 6 months, he basically played at least one round in every single state in America, which was awesome. He's a great writer, great storyteller.
So let's say you're not a golfer, or you used to play golf and you don't is it still worth reading? Like if you're not, will you get stuff out of it if you're not a sports or a golfer per se?
I think so, because some of the things he does talk about are a bit technical, like golf terminology and stuff. But it's really about, and there's a story about how a stray dog just kept like chasing him, and he's running away with the clubs on his back, So there's all these little anecdotes in there that are funny and humorous, and I think will still keep you entertained even if you don't play or follow golf.
Cool. Yeah, I love those kind of books. Real quick, we have Kevin saying Creativity Inc. is high on my list. Highly recommend it. You would like it because being that you were doing a lot at Hasbro, I think that you'd see a lot of similarities, Kevin. So, I mean, I would love to hear what you think about it. And then we're not going to bring up this comment. And then he says one book he doubts is on anyone's list. Highly recommend A Whack on the Side of the Head. Roger, I just love that title. Like,
that's what you need. You need a whack.
Yeah, I need that like every day. Jody does it pretty much every morning. But yeah, so now that Kevin recommended this, that's going to go on my list because I trust what he says, and then the title of that just seems really, really cool. So once again, thank you guys so much for everybody who joined in, gave us their book recommendations. So many great ones on here. But before we wrap everything up, Conor, where can people find out about the amazing, unsinkable Conor Brown?
You can head over to vacationkingdoms.com, or you can follow me at Vacation Kingdoms across the social media. A lot of fun stuff coming up. I said at the top of the show, I'll be headed to Universal. They invited me out next week to check out all the Mardi Gras stuff, and I'll be going to Disneyland the week after that. They invited me out there to see some new fun stuff that's coming to that park. So be sure to follow me at Vacation Kingdoms across social media to stay informed on all of that.
So once again, I want you guys to come back to this channel at 1 o'clock because we're going to be streaming our new show that we're doing with Katie Fox, The Maker's Table. Well, I'll be carving, she'll be crocheting, and we'll be chatting with you guys everywhere. This URL is where everything's going to be at. We're going to go ahead and stream it to that Facebook page, but also here because I had screwed up the YouTube channel because, you know, I thought I had done it all. I had put in I uploaded my license. It said I was all authorized, but you have to click another button and you have to wait 24 hours before you go live. So, and I checked that yesterday and we're probably not going to hit it. So anyway, but the Maker's Table Live will be here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come and hang out, end your work week in a fun way with Katie and I. And once again, thanks to everybody who watched today, and thanks to our sponsors, Ecamm. You can find out more about them at ecamm.com/Jeff. You can save on your first purchase by using code Jeff15. And thank you, Kira. Thank you, Kevin, Jim, everybody who watched. We appreciate you. And with that, we'll see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.